Francis Bacon unquestionably possessed the range of general and philosophical knowledge necessary to write the Shakespearean plays and sonnets, for it is usually conceded that he was a composer, lawyer, and linguist. His chaplain, Dr. William Raleigh, and Ben Jonson both attest his philosophic and poetic accomplishments. The former pays Bacon this remarkable tribute: "I have been induced to think that if there were a beam of knowledge derived from God upon any man in these modern times, it was upon him. For though he was a great reader of books, yet he had not his knowledge from books but from some grounds and notions from within himself." See Introduction to the Resuscitado. Sir Francis Bacon, being not only an able barrister but also a polished courtier, also possessed that intimate knowledge of parliamentary law and the etiquette of the royal court revealed in the Shakespearean plays which could scarcely have been acquired by a man in the humble station of the Stratford actor. Lord Verulam furthermore visited many of the foreign countries forming the background for the plays and was therefore in a position to create the authentic local atmosphere contained therein, but there is no record of William Shakespeare's ever having travelled outside of England. The magnificent library amassed by Sir Francis Bacon contained the very volumes necessary to supply the quotations and anecdotes incorporated into the Shakespearean plays. Many of the plays, in fact, were taken from plots in earlier writings of which there was no English translation at that time. Because of his scholastic acquirements, Lord Verulam could have read the original books. It is most unlikely that William Shakespeare could have done so. Abundant cryptographic proof exists that Bacon was concerned in the production of the Shakespearean plays. Sir Francis Bacon's cipher number was 33. In the first part of King Henry IV, the word Francis appears 33 times upon one page. To attain this end, obviously awkward sentences were required, as "Anon Francis?" "No Francis, but tomorrow Francis," or "Francis, on Thursday," or indeed "Francis when thou wilt." But Francis. Throughout the Shakespearean folios and quartos occurred scores of acrostic signatures. The simplest form of the acrostic is that whereby a name, in these instances Bacon's, was hidden in the first few letters of lines. In The Tempest, Act I, Scene 2, appears a striking example of the Baconian acrostic begun to tell me what I am, but stopped and left me to a bootless inquisition, concluding, stay not yet. The first letters of the first and second lines together with the first three letters of the third line form the word Bacon. Similar acrostics appear frequently in Bacon's acknowledged writings. The tenor of the Shakespearean dramas politically is in harmony with the recognized viewpoints of Sir Francis Bacon, whose enemies are frequently caricatured in the plays. Likewise their religious, philosophic, and educational undercurrents all reflect his personal opinions. Not only do these marked similarities of style and terminology exist in Bacon's writings and the Shakespearean plays, but there are also certain historical and philosophical inaccuracies common to both, such as identical misquotations from Aristotle. Evidently realizing that futurity would unveil his full genius, Lord Verulam in his will bequeathed his soul to God above by the oblations of his Saviour, his body to be buried obscurely, his name and memory to men's charitable speeches, to foreign nations, to succeeding ages, and to his own countrymen after some time had elapsed. That portion appearing in italics Bacon deleted from his will, apparently fearing that he had said too much. That Sir Francis Bacon's subterfuge was known to a limited few during his lifetime is quite evident. Accordingly, stray hints regarding the true author of the Shakespearean plays may be found in many 17th-century volumes. On page 33 Bacon's cipher number of the 1609 edition of Robert Cowdrey's Treasury or Storehouse of Similes appears the following significant allusion: "Like as men would laugh at a poor man, if having precious garments lent him to act and play the part of some honourable personage upon a stage, when the play were at an end he should keep them as his own, and brag up and down in them." 2 inserts. A Baconian signature. From Auciati Emblemata. The curious volume from which this figure is taken was published in Paris in R618. The attention of the Baconian student is immediately attracted by the form of the hog in the foreground. Bacon often used this animal as a play upon his own name, especially because the name Bacon was derived from the word beech and the nut of this tree was used to fatten hogs. The two pillars in the background have considerable Masonic interest. The two A's nearly in the center of the picture, one light and one shaded, are alone almost conclusive proof of Baconian influence. The most convincing evidence, however, is the fact that 17 is the numerical equivalent of the letters of the Latin form of Bacon's name F. Baco, and there are 17 letters in the three words appearing in the illustration. Francis Bacon, Baron Verulam, Viscount Street, Albans. From Bacon's Advancement of Learning. Lord Bacon was born in 1561 and history records his death in 1626. There are records in existence, however, which would indicate the probability that his funeral was a mock funeral and that, leaving England, he lived for many years under another name in Germany, there faithfully serving the secret society to the promulgation of whose doctrines he had consecrated his life. Little doubt seems to exist in the minds of impartial investigators that Lord Bacon was the legitimate son of Queen Elizabeth and the Earl of Leicester. Continued. Repeated references to the word hog and the presence of cryptographic statements on page 33 of various contemporary writings demonstrate that the keys to Bacon's ciphers were his own name, words playing upon it, or its numerical equivalent. Notable examples are the famous statement of Mistress Quickly in The Merry Wives of Windsor: "Hang hog" is Latin for Bacon, I warrant you. The title pages of the Countess of Pembroke's Arcadia and Edmund Spenser's Faerie Queene, and the emblems appearing in the works of Alciatus and Wither. Furthermore, the word honorifica beligidinatibus appearing in the fifth act of Love's Labours Lost is a Rosicrucian signature, as its numerical equivalent 287 indicates. Again, on the title page of the first edition of Sir Francis Bacon's New Atlantis, Father Time is depicted bringing a female figure out of the darkness of a cave. Around the device is a Latin inscription: "In time the secret truth shall be revealed." The catchwords and printers' devices appearing in volumes published especially during the first half of the 17th century were designed, arranged, and in some cases mutilated according to a definite plan. It is evident also that the mispaginations in the Shakespearean folios and other volumes are keys to Baconian ciphers, for re-editions, often from new type and by different printers, contain the same mistakes. For example, the first and second folios of Shakespeare are printed from entirely different type and by different printers 9 years apart, but in both editions page 153 of the comedies is numbered 151, and pages 249 and 250 are numbered 250 and 251 respectively. Also in the 1640 edition of Bacon's The Advancement and Proficience of Learning, pages 353 and 354 are numbered 351 and 352 respectively, and in the 1641 edition of Du Barta's Divine Weeks pages 346 to 350 inclusive are entirely missing, while page 450 is numbered 442. The frequency with which pages ending in numbers 50, 51, 52, 53, and 54 are involved will he noted. The requirements of Lord Verulam's biliteral cipher are fully met in scores of volumes printed between 1590 and 1650 and in some printed at other times. An examination of the verses by L. Digges, dedicated to the memory of the deceased author Master W. Shakespeare, reveals the use of two fonts of type for both capital and small letters, the differences being most marked in the capital T's, N's, and A's. See the first folio. The cipher has been deleted from subsequent editions. The presence of hidden material in the text is often indicated by needless involvement of words. On the 16th unnumbered page of the 1641 edition of Du Barta's Divine Weeks is a boar surmounting a pyramidal text. The text is meaningless jargon, evidently inserted for cryptographic reasons and marked with Bacon's signature, the hog. The year following publication of the first folio of Shakespeare's plays in 1623, there was printed in London a remarkable volume on cryptography, avowedly by Gustavus Solenus. It is considered extremely probable that this volume constitutes the cryptographic key to the great Shakespearean folio. Peculiar symbolical head and tail pieces also mark the presence of cryptograms. While such ornaments are found in many early printed books, certain emblems are peculiar to volumes containing Baconian Rosicrucian ciphers. The light and dark shaded A is an interesting example. bearing in mind the frequent recurrence in Baconian symbolism of the light and dark shaded A and the hog. The following statement by Bacon in his